The Post-it Podcast is brought to you by Dominion Real Estate, SEMA Business Consultants, Instant Balloon Stands, Farmers Insurance by Imelda Gonzalez, and South Texas Pressure Cleaning.
Welcome to another episode of the Post-it Podcast. I'm Cassandra Romero, and today we're here with Brianna Alvarez. Hi, Bri.
Hi, Cassie. It's so good to be back for another episode.
Yes.
And today we're joined by our guest, Mr. Leija, who is also our mentor. How are you doing today, Mr. Leija?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes. Mr. Leija is a very, very special guest. I've known him for the past 3 years. He's been the TV production teacher here on campus for since 2017, right?
8 years.
Yeah, okay, 8 years. He recently got named the Teacher of the Year for our campus as well.
Thanks to you guys.
And yes, yes. And like I mentioned, he's very special to us. He's taught us what we know. We're here because of him, and I've been begging him for 3 years since the moment I've been in this program for him to come on. So we're so glad to have you on. Long awaited, very long awaited.
Thank you. And I'm here because of you, Cassie, because you used the right word. You've been bugging me. I'm not supposed to be here because I'm the one that puts everything together. Yes. I told my wife last night, like, hey, tomorrow I'm going to be with my girls doing the podcast. And then she looked at me like, why? Why are you? Why are you the center of attention? No, there should be a center, blah, blah, blah. But I explained to her, and then she, just wished me good luck, I guess.
So right now we have the crew just solo, right? Mr. Leija is going to be looking over them from here now instead of behind the cameras, right? But let's get into it. So you majored in Spanish, right? You actually graduated from PSJA, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm an alumni from here. And then I went to UTPA, Go Bronx, even though right now it's
Vaqueros,
UTRGV. And yes, I have a degree on Spanish and general art. So I kind of draw a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I always had that little artistic side to it. And if
Definitely.
you really think about it, this is also a little artistic. You're always looking for that angle to tell a story. And
definitely have to be very creative. Yes.
Creative, yes.
Yeah. So tell us how from getting your degree, right? Then you went into Univision, right?
Correct.
And you became a sports anchor. Right? And then you became the news presenter, and then you became the sports director, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So how did that degree in Spanish lead you to get a degree in, pursue a career?
Okay, do we have time? Because I have a lot of stories, all right? So I was already going out with my wife. She was my girlfriend back in the day. And I was taking classes for TV production. I was taking a class in TV production, UTPA. And one day, a very good friend of mine called me. And I used to talk about sports and soccer all the time with my friends. I used to play soccer here at high school. And then they called me, and he told me, hey, there is an opening for a weekend sports anchor. And I remember back in the day, we were in McAllen. We were at a store called Hastings, which is a bookstore. And I just laughed, at the phone, and it was a flip phone. I'm that old. And I said, okay, thank you very much. I'm not interested. So I hung up, and then my wife told me, like, well, what do you mean? Isn't that what you're studying? Blah, 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 blah. And then I said, you know what? You're all right. So I called the guy back. I went for an audition. The audition worked out pretty good. I was so excited because I was calling play-by-play for Mexican soccer, which is my forte, and I was watching it. And while I was reading the prompter, I had a monitor next to it, and I was noticing that the plays were matching with whatever I was saying. And I remember walking out, and I told my friend, hey, save me a copy so that I could show my grandchildren one day. I was just joking around, playing around. I never thought I was gonna, end up doing that. And then a gentleman walked in, and he asked me, sir, what do you do for a living? And I say, I introduce myself, and I say, you know what, I'm a full-time student at the university, and I have a part-time job at HEB. I used to work at HEB at the photo lab. I used to develop photos with the chemicals and all that
with
stuff.
With the disposable cameras and stuff?
Yeah, it was the real camera before the DSLRs, and you had to be very specific with the chemicals to get the right coloring and whatnot. Anyways, so the guy told me, you have a future in here. And he walked away, and I said, "Oh, thank you very much." And I kept joking with my friend, and then my friend told me, "Dude, that's the owner." Like, really? Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was just that. I did have, since I was a kid, I want to say kid, like you guys' age, we used to record little movies and whatnot. My dad bought me a little.
Like home movies?
Yes,
Yeah.
my dad bought me a VHS camera, and my friends, we used to record little movies and whatnot. So I had the interest for it, right? Long story short, they called me. I went on board. That guy told me, you got to be here a couple of weeks trying out to see if you like it, which translated to see if we like you, right?
Yeah.
And then I started learning how to edit. Back in the day, it was on tape. And I was doing rehearsals, right? I used to stand in front of the camera, read the prompter and whatnot. And then one day, randomly, they got me into an office and they say, "Hey, we need for you to go live today at 10. And I say, "What do you mean?" "Yeah, you have to sign some papers." And I say, "How if I'm not ready?" And they stopped, like, "Do you feel you're not ready?" And I said, no, I think I can do it. I mean, I've been doing it for 2 weeks. And I remember I did not even call my parents or my girlfriend or no one. I just went and do it. I did it. I did it, and I felt the adrenaline for the first time, and then I stayed. And then eventually, a month later, they got me into the office, the boss, and he told me that he needed for me to, drop my other job, and he needed for me to be full-time there. So that's how I started. I did weekends for a while, and then the weekend anchor left, and then they asked me if I want to do news, and I said no, but if you need help, why not? I can do it for a while. Well, that thing turned into a 2-year deal, and then eventually I went back to the boss and said, I don't like doing news. I like doing sports because the stories in sports, adrenaline, going out to, to the high schools, to the games, to the practices. That's what I like. So eventually they put me into the weekday position. And then a few months later, I became the director, and then by the time I left, 16 years later, I was like a regional director. I used to do sports for McAllen. I used to do sports for Corpus Christi and for Laredo. And then sometimes I'll fill in for whomever was absent in Vegas or whatever, just with the national news. So it was a very exciting day. It was a very exciting job. Never a dull day, but the times, we hear
that a lot, though.
When I was younger, I didn't care. I used to put my alarm clock at noon because I used to go in at 1:30. I had to be there at 1:30, and it was life. I could go sleep late and whatnot. But then when I had my family, then I realized that once my oldest son started going to elementary, I didn't see him. So I had to wake up early morning with them so that I can go and help them dress up and take him to school so I can see him a little bit in the morning. Because at night when I got home, they were already asleep. And I'll see him in the morning. And that's when I started like, is this the right thing? But once again, I loved what I did. I enjoyed it to the best I could. And I'm very happy and glad and blessed that I went through that because of that, I'm here.
So, since I know your degree, it was in Spanish. Did you start off reporting in Spanish or in English?
No, in Spanish. So what happened is I was doing broadcasting and communications at UTPA. I'm sorry, and my good friend Octavio Sáenz, he told me, like, why are you gonna get a degree in communication if you are already doing communications? You are learning from stuff that they're not gonna even teach you at the university. You're not even going to learn over there. You already have a career set in here. Though, if you start doing Spanish, we were a Spanish-speaking station, that's going to help you a lot on your writing. That's going to help you a lot on your presenting. That's going to help you a lot when you put the lower thirds and whatnot, the accents and Spanish was my minor. So I went back, talked to my counselors, and they changed my degree plan, and I totally got out of the TV classes, and I was doing Spanish and art. Art has been one of my passions since I was in high school. I remember. I don't remember the name of my teacher, but he really, really inspired me to draw and do things. And I got second place back on the day. I got second place for the logo of the city of San Juan.
Oh, really?
No, they gave me an airbrush back in the day. That was I guess that was a big. I still have it somewhere in there. Just, I never used it, but yeah. So that's how I transitioned from doing that into getting a degree in Spanish.
Okay, and then with that degree, you went into Univision, right? And then from Univision, you came here, right? Back to your alma mater.
Correct.
Right?
So I was already working at the TV station when I got I graduated while working at the TV station. And then once again, I'm going back to my family. My oldest son was in 8th grade, and back over there, but I was a sports director, so I was in the big meetings, the decision making and whatnot. And so you have little luxuries here and there. Yes, you work a lot, but at the same time, whenever I needed, I could take a little extra longer lunch. And those lunches, I used to spend them on Fridays with my wife, my youngest son. We used to go see my oldest son play basketball. And I remember my wife used to take me a little Coke. There was no Coke Zero back in the day. And a sandwich. And it was the best meal ever because I was watching it. I was watching my son and I was with my other son. And it was and then one day it just clicked on me like, this guy's going to be a freshman next year. And I won't be able to go see him play. And this is what I do for a living. So when I worked over there, I thought I had a purpose, right? And I thought my purpose was to help out young athletes try to get scholarship, right? So it's a circle. So everything started on preseason. You will go to the high schools. You will record the students, whatever sport, and then you will cover them during regular season, during playoffs, and then hopefully a scout. Back in the day, is not as we work today, right? That everybody broadcasts and we have all the plays on YouTube and whatnot. So I was hoping for a scout to watch a video or a highlight of a student on my newscast, and that will prompt them to say, you know what, let's go down south. Maybe, we have a chance. Let's go watch this kid that's playing in Edinburgh, or it's playing in San Juan, or he's playing in Westlaco, or whatever. And maybe because of our coverage, I can give this student a better opportunity, right? And then the cherry on the top was us going to cover the signing. It was very exciting. That was, and I thought for a moment that was my deal. But if the way I was working, I couldn't be recording my son every Friday at home, or I could, so I told my wife, this is not going to work out. It was just one day I snapped and I say, this is not going to work out. I'm going to miss my whole high school career, because he loves soccer. So he plays soccer. So I made a couple of phone calls and here I am. I applied originally with Miss Ariana Vasquez. She was the PR director back in the day, and they had a position for a reporter. So I talked to her. I went to the interviews, and while on the interviews, we discussed a few things that I can talk on the mic, but we discussed a few things, and then she realized that, you know what, you will be great to help us out doing sports for our district. And I was super excited because I said, you know what, from covering 45 high schools to covering 4 that are tied with UIL, and then I was going to get Christmas off, and I was going to get this off, right? Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe not the summer, but Christmas and whatever holidays we get here, right? That took a while. So I didn't know they need to open a position, and they didn't know a few things. So, time went by, 4, 5, 6 months went by, and then eventually they sent me a link. They said, hey, they're looking for a TV production teacher. Is there something you will be interested in? I said, I don't know if I'll be interested in teacher. There has been 2 high schools before that they have offered me a teaching position because they wanted for me to help them coach soccer, right? But I did not see myself teaching in a classroom setup. My degree was on Spanish, so I needed to teach Spanish. And I don't know. But when I got the opportunity here, and it's not that they saved the opportunity for me. The opportunity has been open for a year and a half or 6, 8 months, whatever. Nobody was applying for it. I don't know. When they told me it was going to be TV production, like, wait, so I can still record and do what I want to do, what I love. And they told me, oh, yes. And we have a lab full of Macs, and then Macs have Adobe Premiere, which is my expertise. So that turned a little bulb, like, you know what?
It was a selling point.
Maybe my dream job, it's being off in the summers, being off a couple of weeks with my sons during my breaks. So I just told my wife, you know what, let's go for it. And it totally changed. It was a slap on the face, and I just ended up 180 degrees somewhere else, because I had a different position over there. I had a lot of people under my guidance and whatnot, and over here I came and from scratch. I started not only learning, but looking for the opportunities, because it takes some effort, and you gotta prove yourself in order to start getting. For them to start believing in your program, so that we can get stuff like the ones we're sitting up right here, right?
Exactly.
So that's how I did the transition from being sports anchor to being a teacher. And honestly, between us here, I mentioned earlier, I thought I was being privileged because I was able to touch some lives of athletes, by covering them. But what I'm doing here, God put me in a position when I'm touching you girls directly on what you guys are doing, on what you guys are feeling, on guiding you guys to the best of my ability, right? So I think I'm in a very privileged position on that particular sense.
Yeah, so we're very blessed to have you in this program.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I guess a lot of it was, balancing your passion while also focusing on your own life, because you don't want to miss out on your kids' life as well because of your work.
I went to every single game for 4 years. Every single game with my wife. We bought the whole,
the chairs,
the soccer dad said, the chair. Yes, we have an umbrella. We have all this.
But you
things.
fulfilled your dream.
I did.
In that sense.
I did.
Right? Yeah.
So I know you mentioned a lot, having to build the program and having to get the trust of the people around you, and also the campus and the district, in order to have this equipment and to make this program what it is and make it a lasting thing that isn't going to be gone within a couple years or 1 year, and it's something that's going to be a legacy that will go on hopefully to our children or our siblings and to the future. So what inspired you, or what was your first initiative to instill the Bears News Network program here?
I had plans, right? Some people call it luck. A lot of people call it luck. You got lucky. And I read somewhere that luck, it's when preparation meets opportunity. I don't know if you guys heard that before.
I've heard that before.
Okay, so I had this in mind during my time off in the summer. I studied this. I studied how to do a podcast, not how to record it and set up the microphones, because I already knew that, right? But, what is a podcast? A podcast, a lot of people think, is just recording in 3 cameras and the microphone and put it on YouTube. No, the essence of a podcast, it's radio on the go. This is what we're creating, radio on the go. Your girls going and you go exercise and you're listening to a podcast. You guys are driving, and instead of listening to music, sometimes, in the morning you'll put it on and it'll wake you up and you get ideas, and you do whatever you want to do. So I wanted to do something like this. I plan to do something like this, right? I've been preparing for a couple of years before this happened. I prepared the podcast. I remember coming in the summer, and my former boss, Dr. Elias, which is our superintendent, I went to his office and I say, "Sir, I have an idea. I wanna turn my classroom into a studio." And he looked at me like, "What do you want to do? What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, we have some things that we're going to tear off, and I need your blessing, and I need your help, and I want to build a green screen, and I want to do this. How are we going to do that? I just need your blessing, and I need some help, right? Maybe if I could borrow a couple of people, custodians that can, come and help me. And when do you need this? Well, I'm going to be here a couple of weeks during the summer. Is that okay? Yeah. So I went to Cash and Carry, and I bought some wood over there, and I got some green paint, and I got some other stuff in here, and that's how initially started. What I'm getting into, I had that preparation.
Yeah.
And you guys give me that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I needed to have students that were engaged and ready to embark with me on that journey. It's not that I could prepare and do a lot of things, but it's students are not willing to
take advantage of the opportunity.
If they don't feel the need to then I'm going to be just there, right? But you guys made my preparation into luck, right? And it's you two that started things like this, and more things to come, hopefully, for my students. And my ultimate goal, Kazzy already told me she wants to be a reporter. I want for her to be the best reporter possible. I want for her to be way better than what I did on my 16 years. And I know she has everything to do that. So that's what I want. I want to give you as many tools as possible. So when you go to college and they give you an assignment, oh, I already did that. I already know how to do that.
We talked about that before. Like, you have students working for the district. You have students at UTRGV getting those opportunities, right? And so it's definitely, you definitely prepare us.
And sometimes
the professionalism required in the field.
They say life is about timing, and sometimes I feel bad because some of my previous students didn't have this, right? It was not their time. I have students, Edgar, for instance, he worked with the district, but I didn't have this. Edgar would have done a wonderful job sitting in here. I have all the students that went to TRGV, Julissa, Kimberly, Matthew, a lot of kids, that Juan Tortilla. I used to have a student named Juan Tortilla. He was very, very good at editing. And I wish I had some tools, and the guy, I'm pretty sure he would have made something big, explosion, out of it. So, that's how everything started, a dream. And then the BNN, we talked about this. We sat on a table. Maybe it wasn't you. It was probably Sam. We talked on a table, on a round table like this. And I like to throw ideas with my students. And ultimately, I want for you guys to make the decisions, right? So we decided to call it Bears News Network. And under Bears News Network, we can have different programs, right? Like the Posted Podcast. I didn't want for you guys to be stuck to name everything regarding bears, maroon and white, and whatnot. So whatever we do, it has to do with Bears News Network. So we had the Posted Podcast by Bears News Network. We had the Weekly Beat by, we have Senioritis by, and then future projects are going to be also by Bears, which it's you guys, Bears News Network. So that's the whole idea behind it. What, you looking at the monitor? The monitor stop?
I was like, we could be quiet for a little bit.
We don't need to pause. We can just turn it on. Remember here.
It's because I
give it to the guys.
We everybody knows our secrets now. We have a remote and we put it every time. Okay,
so next question, right? You worked at Univision.
Correct.
And now you're here. And you kind of help us with, you guide us, right?
With the
when it comes to editing or the behind the scenes, you kind of tell the guys, here, this is what you got to do. You teach them, right?
Yeah.
So what do you prefer? Right now you're in front of the camera, but typically you're behind the scenes. What's your favorite?
I like being behind the cameras.
Yeah.
So I don't mind being in front of the camera. When I got out of the TV business, I'm very selective to what I get into in front of the camera. I think this is the first time I'm ever in front of the camera. I have, and all respect to everyone, I had a couple of friends that called me and, hey, you want to do a podcast? And, I did a podcast on my own to learn how to do this so that I can teach you guys. Maybe you guys don't know this.
Was it during COVID?
It was a little bit during COVID. It was probably like 5-6 years ago that I wanted to learn how to do the podcast, and I wanted to learn how to upload the content into Spotify, because people, if you don't know this, you can listen to these girls on Spotify. You can listen to them on Amazon Music. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to them. What else? iHeartRadio. So it's in YouTube, of course. It's a little process. A lot of people do it in YouTube. I personally do it on YouTube and put it on YouTube because for older generations, like my parents. My parents aren't gonna have Spotify, right? They're not gonna have whatever, but they do have smart TV, and my dad knows how to look for stuff in there, and he'll look for your girls and he'll watch it, and then he'll give me feedback when I get home, like, oh, this girl said this and that girl said that. Chill out, they're students. They're learning. It's a learning process. So yeah, I enjoy the most being behind camera because there is just something about getting an idea, creating that idea, and making it work.
And seeing it follow through.
Seeing it follow through. That's something that, drives me to do things.
So what do you worked at the TV station for a really, really long time. So, and obviously the environment over there and here it's
way
different.
way
So
different.
what do you miss about working at the TV station?
A lot. It was never a dull moment. It was crazy how a regular day.
Uh-huh.
So I was sitting down in my little cause I have a little cubicle, like a little office, and I was typing my stories, and I already had my rundown, and I typed my stories, and then randomly somebody will knock on my window and look around, and there is a very important person in the building, artists, for real, singers, whatever, like random people will show up. You never know what's gonna come in the door. Also, when it comes to news, there's a lot of things that are happening in the Rio Grande Valley, a lot of things we don't even know about.
Yeah.
A lot of stories that you have to make editorial decisions and say, you know what, this is a very strong story, it can take us to the top, but it's not ethical for us to run it because of whatever reasons, right? So it was never a moment like that. I don't remember waking up in the morning and say, I have to go to work.
Yeah.
Never. I wake up, get ready, and then I was thinking on the way to work. Okay, I'm gonna have this story, and the Astros are gonna play, and this is gonna happen here, and that's gonna happen over there, and I have everything on my mind, and I was taking notes and whatnot. So it was a very exciting time for me. I really enjoyed it. Was it my dream job? I never thought I was gonna end up doing that, but once. I believe if you do something that you love, you don't have to work a single day in your life. I'm pretty sure you girls have heard that before. But when you really like what you're doing, the process becomes the price.
Because it's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. It's enjoyable, right?
And then you reap the rewards when you see what you work so hard.
Correct. So it's not publishing the podcast. It's planning it. It's sitting down. Who are we going to
sending
bring?
out the emails.
Setting the emails, doing the question, doing the preparation for it. If you learn how to enjoy that, this is going to be the reward. It's not the end product. So, if you really like that, I'm not going to lie. The first year that I started teaching, I didn't have a day off. I didn't know how to teach. No. So I was learning. So my Saturdays and my Sundays I spent
studying,
locked in an office, taking notes. I didn't know teaching run in my family. My brother's been teaching for a long time, right? And he got Teacher of the Year for his district last year or the year before, right? And he even got to be the district Teacher of the Year, which he went all out. And then when I got this distinction, I posted it on Facebook, right? Because my family is there. And I started reading the comments from my family in Monterrey, and I found out that a lot of my relatives are teachers too.
Oh, over there?
At the universities and high schools and whatnot. I say, wow, I didn't know that. So who knows?
It runs in the family.
Maybe it runs in the family, but I do get this special thing trying to, when I help a student, my friends sometimes they make fun of me because they're telling me that I became soft. And maybe it's because I'm getting older or what. Maybe it is, but when I used to work on the TV station, it was a different story. I would take everything like, make decisions. And right now, like, I might get mad at a student, and then sometimes. I feel something in my heart. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna give him another chance. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to the dad. Let me talk to this, because he gets instances. You're students here. You be in the classroom, and sometimes there's some kids like, oh my god. But for the most part, I gotten soft on that. I gotten soft on that, and sometimes it's it's certain stories that. Will never. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff on the TV station walking through there. A lot of stories, and sometimes I remember one particular time I was gonna go out to record some baseball at the Roadrunners, and they called me, "Hey, on the way over there, can you stop because there was a homicide?" And oh my god! And so I just need for you to record from across the street. Whatever. It's just a different life. It's a different situation. It's a different scenario. It's a different everything. The relatives look at you. You aren't just trying to do your job, you know. And I didn't ask any questions. I didn't do anything. I just stood there, put my camera, and got some shots and took off. And I realized, like, oh man, how difficult.
Like,
you know, it's
people's lives. It's not just a story. It's
and
people's
again,
lives.
you will go back to the station and you will edit the story. Like, if nothing, you will ask what happened, this and this and this. Oh, poor people, too bad. Turn around and keep recording because it's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
And in here, minimal things, like sometimes, you know, I start choking or tearing up because of, you know, whatever, because of one of my loved kids gets an accolade, because I know the student that whatever, you know, I see them struggling, or sometimes I notice that they're hungry or whatever, and so I try to help out, and that, you know, that gets to me. So I don't know. I just, I guess I got top. If that's how you want to call it, yes, and I'm happy, to live that way.
Well, you know, you take charge of a lot of the things that happen here on campus. From this, right, the Posted Podcast, we have Senioritis, we have the Weekly Beat, and then you also do KTRI, as you mentioned, right?
Yes.
So that's the entire district, students that are looking to pursue something in journalism, or even students that are just interested, you know, getting their face on camera, or just the experience, right? What is your favorite? What do you like about each of them? All of that.
I like everything. I want to tell you, I was looking forward to the podcast because this is the second semester. By the time we do the podcast, let's give a shout out to all the guys behind the cameras. You all do an awesome job.
Yes.
By now they are trained, and I don't have to worry much about that. I talk to you girls a lot. We talk a lot. We sit down. We take notes, and I'm working on your delivery, right? Most of the time. And I like this one because I'm trying to push it always, and we started bringing guests within the campus only, and right now we're limited to only 3 persons per campus today. I'm one of them, right? And the rest, I want for you girls to get people from up in the district, and then if we can, you know, by now you've probably seen that we already had a guest who was a play-by-play announcer in
CBS
nationwide, right? We also got one of the main guys on the sporting side of UTRGV, right? So what I want is for you guys to start growing. So I think I enjoyed this the most. I also like the Weekly Beat a lot. I like the Weekly Beat a lot because I see you guys work in action, do the stories. What are we going to do? What are we not going to do? Breaking groups and go see you guys mingle. A lot of people don't know. I hope my principal doesn't get mad at me. But it is also an exercise of trust, right? Because at the beginning, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm over there walking with you guys when you guys are doing the interviews. And now I don't. Now we figure out the assignments, who's going to go record what, who's going to go record this. And before you guys leave, I don't tell you that right now, but at the beginning, hey, stick around together. Don't do anything crazy. You're representing me and whatnot, right? So it's a trust situation where you guys are going to go over there and don't get lost and don't want to be playing around, and you guys are going to be handling yourselves with respect so that people start acknowledging you and knowing that what you guys are doing. So, you know, it is a trust situation, you know, and sometimes I just on purpose, I stay here and I'm just praying that nothing happens, right? But I gotta give you guys that opportunity of trust. That way you guys I can't be behind you all the time because eventually I'm not going to be there. Kazzy, in 2 months, I'm not going to be correcting you on scripts and doing this and doing that. The only thing I can hope for is that you could remember and say, man, what would they have told me right now or so, all right? But, you know, for me, I think these 2 particular segments are the ones that I enjoyed the most. The one for KTRI, once again, I give all the credit to public relations because they support whatever we do in here a lot, right? So I go over there and I help them out as much as I can also, right? If I have to run camera, I will run camera. But I really enjoy working with my students, and the difference is, and we were talking about it before the mics were on today, there are students that really want to do that. There are students that really want to report.
Ambitious.
And they're ambitious, so it's easier for me to work with them.
To nurture them because.
And it's very fulfilling to see them walking in the first time they're doing an assignment and they grab a microphone and they're a little shaky and stuff.
Oh my goodness me, that was me.
And see them their faces, and then you have to go in and okay, Mija, let's practice, let's do it together, let's work on the breathing and then just standing and what are you gonna say, and let's go over and over and over. And I will never ever, and you know this, I will never put you in a position of failure on that particular. You guys are reporting live, right? So I work with you guys, and then it's very, very fulfilling by week 6 or 7 that I just walk into the field and I see my students come in with assignments already, and they already know what to do, they already know what I'm gonna say, and you guys are fighting for stories, and you guys, that's to me, that open my eyes, and my heart gets full just of emotion seeing you guys learn and embrace and do what you need to do. Very exciting.
So you've obviously established a really successful Bears News Network and a lot of little branches under that network. Are there any other ideas that are like hatching in your brain, or maybe any plans for the future?
I don't know if I should say, because there's a lot of copycats. I'm joking.
Well, no, but there's a lot of people, right?
I'm joking. No. At the end of the day, and this has happened to me also outside the school. I'm a guy that reads a lot, that watches a lot of what's happening, what's trending. So I always have ideas to develop and to do this and to do that and take routes. So no, I'm not afraid of people doing what we do here. Actually,
it's good because it's setting the trend.
Yes. Well, that sounds a little cocky. We are inspiring.
Yes.
Right? That's what we're doing. We're inspiring. And I really hope other high schools start doing the same. And if they already know if they need help setting something up. I just talked to Chief Rolando from our Rolly from our PD, and he told me that he has all the setup to make a podcast. They want to do a podcast
so cool.
on their studio, right?
So
and they had it there for a while. I said, hey, if you need help, hit me up, and my kids can put it together for you.
Definitely.
And we can teach you how it works, and we can get it going. Oh, thank you very much, and whatnot.
So
cool. To me, that's inspiring, right? So, and I never said anything about plans for the future, but yes, you guys built a couple of audio booths in here, and one of the booths is I don't want to say because maybe I don't want to jinx it, right?
Yeah.
But one of the booths is designated to be a radio station. I want for you, and I'm so sorry for you, and I'm so sorry for Jonah and for Jordan and for Adrian and for everybody that's over here for Aiden, that they're not gonna be able to enjoy that because the booth is ready to go. We just need some clearance, and I'm still studying some what's going to be the best program or solution for you guys to go live. And but yes, that's one of the big projects that we have that we're going to have hopefully next year. And of course, we got to continue with the weekly beat. I always wanted to have a weekly. So there's a lot of things happening in our campus.
Good things, right?
A lot of accolades. To highlight. So we are that particular window to showcase our students.
Yeah. And so throughout these past 3 years, right, that I've been in the program, you've taught me a lot, and one of those things is the importance of networking, right? And building those relationships with others and having that good, positive, I guess, energy, right? So what is the importance of networking? Tell our audience why it's so important for us to be prepared when we go into college and even in the workforce.
Networking starts in your house. If you have a good relationship with your parents, you have a good relationship with your especially with your siblings, right? They're gonna back you up if you do something and whatnot. It's the same thing in real world, right? If you come to my classroom or to whatever classroom, and this is something I tell my son all the time, and he's very shy, my youngest guy. And Mijo, you go inside the classroom and you greet your teacher all the time. Good morning, good afternoon, before you leave, and then he's gonna remember you. So and we joked around this before here in the classroom. You gotta be nice to everyone because you never know. You never know, right? Exactly. So networking, it's great. What is it that you have to offer And it's not about opening up and offering everything you have to everyone, because some people would take advantage, right? But for the most part, if this is what I do, if I can help you with something, that becomes a little network, because eventually when you ask for a favor, for the most part they're gonna say yes. And we had some guests in here that are returning favors that I had done in the past, right? So hopefully you guys will understand that, and in the future you can start also doing favors and getting some favors in return, right? And we're not talking about anything weird or illegal. The guys came and sat here and talked to you guys, and they give him back. I try to sell it like this: you're giving back to the community. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. That was something that I that was my my saying, I guess, when I came back to my alma mater. I want to go back and help out to the community, and help out to my community and whatever. But it's something what I said and something else. What it really happens, it's just like I told you earlier. It's just slapped on my face. There's a lot of things that we can do here to help out in our community. A lot of things.
Definitely.
And part of it is the networking. You built a good relationship with people, and then eventually when you need something, that little synergy is gonna help you get what you want or need.
Since you obviously came back to your alma mater, then there must have been something sort of pulling you back towards it. So what makes PSJ Early College High School different from other campuses?
Is this the last question?
Typically, yes.
Typically,
I mean, do you want to
typically.
touch on anything else?
No.
Okay.
But we always close with that,
PSJ.
right?
Something strong.
We want to talk
yes.
good about our campus. Okay. So yes, once a bear, always a bear. That pertains to me,
Yes.
150%. This school, this district has given me a lot. I'm a product of PSJA. I was born and raised in Monterrey, Mexico. I am a purebred Mexican, right? But when I came in here, I started junior high back in the day. Today's middle school, I think. And is it Alamo Middle School with Miss Soto and Miss Cuellar. So that's a whole different story that it's going to take me 3 hours to tell you what happened the first year I came in and whatnot. But they give me out the tools. I got here to an English as what was the word back then? English as a second language student, right? And I did not know they had a program when I walked into the school for the first time. I didn't know they have a program like this. So I was scared to my bones. I remember my mom was also, and then I have two siblings, right, my brothers, and somehow we are 3 years apart. So we were at different schools, all of us. It's not like, I can help him out or he can whatever. I'm the oldest, so we were on our own. And walking into my classroom and sitting down, and I remember I heard some giggling, and then I turned around, and there was two girls, they were my age, and they were giggling and looking at me and laughing, whatever. And then I turned around and said, "What's going on?" And then they laughed and they said something in Spanish. And I like my smile was, oh really? So yes, we do. I mean, we don't speak English. Blah blah. I'm from here. Where are you from? And then I realized the whole classroom. So that was such. And then Miss Cuellar, Miss Janie Cuellar, and I want to give them a shout out, and Miss Linda Soto. They were my first mentors here at PSJA back in junior high. They did a wonderful job. For the transition, for helping us out. I only lasted 1 year in that program, and then they started changing me to regular classes and whatnot. But that really meant a lot, So PSJA, and you always hear it, especially PSJA Bears. It's about family and it's about tradition.
Yes.
Right. And pretty sure you got,
100%.
and I'm pretty sure you girls can tell me the family part, right? I think I seen you guys how you guys get along. We're very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to have this little group. I was joking around. I was in a good mood. But at the end of the day, you guys make everything work, right? I'm pretty sure you guys have special connections to some teachers, to some administration. That's family, right? And tradition, man, we have a lot of traditions. We are back to back district champs in baseball. Is that not a tradition? We are back to back champions in volleyball. We're back to back champions in softball. look at what you guys are doing in drama. You know, that's the tradition we have. We have a tradition to excel.
Yes.
And we're going back to the weekly beat. We have a lot to talk every single week. Sometimes
There's something new.
Sometimes we have those editorial decisions where,
Yeah.
you know what, powerlifting, they're being winning every single week. Like, what should we do? Should we try putting another story instead of that one? Because people are, no, they keep winning.
Yeah.
And we keep covering them. And that's our job. Our job doesn't end, right?
Yes.
The football season ends in, what is it?
Like November.
November or so,
September.
if we're lucky. You know, basketball season ends, whatever. Our season never ends.
Yeah.
We start reporting at the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
And all the way to the end.
And the last podcast is going to run probably the last week of the school. So, you know, we're always there. And, you know, once a bear, always a bear. And I'm very blessed to be back. And I'm very blessed to be, I'm very privileged to be in this position when I could be touching the lives directly of students.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you on, right?
Thank you.
We
Been-
love
My
having
pleasure.
you.
Yes. I'm glad that the audience got to know a little bit about you.
The man
And
behind the
yes, The
cameras.
man behind the camera, the man behind all of this.
Yes.
So thank you so much. We appreciate all that you do for us and for our campus and for these guys over here. But thank you all thank you all so much for joining us on this very special episode. We hope to see you next time. And remember, go Bears.
This posted podcast was brought to you by Dominion Real Estate, SEMA Business Consultants, Instant Balloon Stands, Farmers Insurance by Imelda Gonzalez, and South Texas Pressure Cleaning.